Hello and welcome back to my small little library. Just like a little bit of a preamble here, I'm dog sitting currently. It has been a rough few days, which I'm sorry to say you can see. Yeah, I'm really tired and I have to have an eye on her at all times because otherwise she will do chaos. And so yeah, I will give my best to film this video, but it is under like trying circumstances, so we'll give our best, you know. But so if you can hear dogs in the background, please excuse that. Obviously they're gonna play. I can't like change that because normally I only have my dog here, but we have our friend's dog here as well, and she hasn't the best of manners. But October is here, nearly. And yeah, I want to talk about my October TBR, which is a little bit more like horror book heavy, which to be honest, fine by me. Also, October is my birthday month, so I'm really happy about that. So I might just buy myself a book for my birthday and then read that as well. But yeah, these are the books I would ideally like to read. And we're gonna start with the fantasy books. One I have already started. This is Winds of Fate by Mercedes Lackey, and this one was on my TBR for September because dog sitting has been a whole lot more tiring than expected, to be honest. I just don't have the head to read that at the moment, which is fine by me, but yeah, obviously I won't read that in September then, so I will put it on my October TBR because I do want to read it. It starts really interesting. It's about like a fantasy world where you have people who have magic and people who don't have magic, and then you have obviously the conflict between the people that use magic and those who don't, and stuff like that, you know. So that is pretty much the main conflict in here as far as I can see, and our main character is the princess of one of the lands, and yeah, it sounds really interesting, and the beginning is also really interesting. So we'll see how this continues. And then the next one that I also didn't manage to read in September is The Knife of Never Letting Go. This one I didn't even start, so I'm just gonna put it on my October TBR because I do really want to read this. This is one of the first few books I bought once I got back into reading a few years ago, and I still haven't read the trilogy, and I do own it completely, so yeah, a little bit of a sad thing actually, so I desperately need to read this book. Then, the third book I kind of want to read is one of the first books I've ever gotten in a book subscription box, and that is This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. I have absolutely no idea what this book is about. I know really nothing other than that it's a really pretty book, and so yeah, I mean, I really love the cover designs, you know. But the main thing is I do really want to read it because it's been so long on my shelves and I just haven't picked it up yet. But I don't have the greatest track record when it comes to subscription box books, so sadly I am kind of predicting that I won't like it. So yeah, I am predicting that I probably won't like it because they seem to all be really romance heavy, and I'm really not a romance reader, so that is definitely a factor that I have to think about. Since this is a fairy loot, I since have gotten rid of the fairy loot because they are so romance heavy. And I'm only getting the Lumi crate, which I feel like is a little bit less romance heavy, but still obviously a lot of romance there. But yeah, so I will give it a try and we'll see. It's an experiment if I like it or not. I don't have the highest expectations for that one, if I'm honest. Then, because it is October, I am in the mood for a Stephen King reread. And I have decided to reread Carrie this Halloween. So this one I will probably read around the end of the month. But yeah, I love this book. But I wanted a shorter book because I obviously have a lot of like bigger fantasy again on my TBR. So I wanted a shorter reread, but I love Carrie. I think this is a brilliant book. So yeah, I will do a reread of this. I'm sorry that the glare is really bad today. But yeah, so we'll reread this. One of my favorites, to be honest. And I only ever read it once, because I only read it, I think, last year or the year before, so it's not that long ago that I read it. But I'm still really in the mood for a reread, especially since the last 4 books on my TBR are all older horror books or like detective novels / horror books that I got in like an eBay horror book box bundle thingy-majiggy. So yeah, I have no idea what these are about, how they are, if they're good or not, but it is October, and so I do love to read more horror books in October. So this is a collection of a few that I own and want to read. So the first one we have is Under the Lake by Stuart Woods. Blurbed by Stephen King, which doesn't really say anything by my estimation. But yeah, so we have a little cabin in the woods at a lake, and our guy, our main character, goes there to, like, you know, escape his stressful life, and then the visions begin. So yeah, really classical horror story. It's not too long, so I'm hopeful that it won't like feel just like a stretch to read it. I have a lot of problems with bigger horror books, that they feel like they stretch and that they're artificially stretched to like be bigger. So yeah, hopefully this one isn't. I like the cover. I think it's a really, really nice cover. So yeah, hopefully it's a good horror book. I have no idea. Then the next one we have is called The Pet by Charles L. Grant. This one sounds really interesting. So we have our little town, and it is autumn, so perfect match for October. And yeah, there's a serial killer on the loose who kills adolescent and adult people alike. And but he mostly preys on adolescents. And yeah, somehow our like boy, who seems to be our main character, who has something to do with the death of the serial killer, and it makes him a reluctant hero. And yeah, he is a little bit of like a shy guy, and he talks to his animal posters at home, and they listen, and maybe they act. Which, to be honest, sounds fantastic. So I have high hopes for this one. Also, it has gotten a lot of reads before me, so maybe that's a good sign. But yeah, also a great cover. So yeah, hopefully this one will be good. But it sounds really interesting, which is the main important thing, you know. And then, oh, the dogs just destroyed a toy. Amazing. Oh my god. Then the next one is Bernard Taylor, Charmed Life. And here we have a guy who loses his wife and his kids. And yeah, he mourns them, obviously. And so while on his mourning journey, he goes back to the town where they were really, really happy. And there he starts seeing his wife and a young woman. And yeah, the horror goes from there somehow, so I'm interested to see where this goes. I feel like the book cover looks a lot more like a movie poster than like a typical book cover. Okay, so I had to pause the filming because my partner called. Today is just chaos. I'm really, really sorry. But yeah, I think we were with this one, so did we finish with this one? I think we finished with this one. Okay, so the last book I have kind of planned for this month, and that is Water Witch by Deborah LeBlanc. I think I have 2 of this series. But yeah, our main character here is called Dani, and she has some special abilities, and because of that she kind of like keeps to herself, because people are really superstitious and stuff, and yeah, she doesn't want to get hurt. But then 2 children vanish in the swamps, and she seems to be the only one who can really, like, you know, help the kids back to safety and get them back. But yeah, there seem to be some ghosts and spirits in the swamps, so there might be more to the missing children. That might be a little bit supernatural, we'll see, but it sounds really, really interesting. So yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes, because obviously I have a second part. I think it's the same series. I'm actually not sure, but I do know that I have another by Deborah Lemerank, so we'll see. But it sounds really interesting. So yeah, that are all of the books that I have planned so far. I would love to get another Stephen King in, but like one I haven't read yet. But I only own really, really big ones by him that I haven't read yet, and I don't know if I can do that time-wise, because we have quite a few things going in October. So yeah, there's a wedding we have to attend. There, some friends are coming to stay for a few days. So there's a lot of, like, you know, people around here and stuff going on, so I don't know how much time I will have, but we'll see. So I think the mixture is quite great. We have 3 more like fantasy, sci-fi, and then 5 horror books, which I think is quite fitting for October. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can finish all of these. But I'm not holding myself to it, to be honest, because September was like a little bit more chaotic and I didn't manage to read as much as I wanted to, which happens, you know, but I think it's fine. Also, I will probably pick up 1 or 2 audiobooks on the way, which we'll see if I can. I try to find these as audiobooks, which would make my life a lot easier, but it's not that realistic, to be honest, because I live in Germany and getting the books in English as audiobooks from my library is rather hard. But we'll see how it goes. And if you want to know what I thought of all of these books, you will have to come back at the end of October for my wrap up. And yeah, hopefully you still enjoyed this video, even though it's kind of a little bit chaotic because I have to keep an eye on the dog. But yeah, maybe leave a like if you did enjoy it still, subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!